morning. Yesterday saw the Dale Farm travellers win the latest stage of their High Court battle. We speak to the five sisters refusing to be evicted from their community, and they are determined to never stop fighting. They're coming up next.
Yes, comments on Dale Farm's victory already flooding in. Colleen, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I've got a couple here already. One from Ellen McLaughlin on Facebook who says they've been living there for 10 years. Why try to evict them now? Everyone has a civil right to have a home. Keep your fight going and don't let small-minded people wreck your community. However, Kim Daniels on Facebook says remove them now. We have to abide rules, so should they. They are wasting our taxpaying money and have ruined a village.
Yesterday, the Dale Farm travellers won the latest stage of their High Court battle. In a moment, we speak exclusively with five sisters fighting for their travelling community and refusing to be evicted. But first, a look at why Dale Farm has dominated the headlines. In early July, eviction notices were served on all 100 traveller families living on Dale Farm in Essex, the UK's biggest illegal traveller site, giving them until the end of August to leave. Last Monday, when the bailiffs were due to move in, the residents won a last-gasp injunction postponing any clearance.
We're very strong women and we do stick up for our human rights.
Later that week, a High Court judge granted the travellers an extension to the injunction, preventing Basildon Council from clearing the site. Yesterday then saw residents win another temporary reprieve in their long-running battle. Well, with us now, sisters Kathleen, Mary, Margaret, Martina and Joanna, and welcome, ladies. Thank you very much for coming in today. What's the last 2 weeks been like for you?
It's been very stressful. It's really been a very stressful situation. We've had tears, but we also had laughter because we are a very strong community and we try to keep it as stressful as possible for the sake of the children and the really old people, because we have a lot of cancer patients that haven't got long left in their life.
Do you recognise that a part of this community is there, illegal is a strong word, but is there without permission? Do you recognise that?
Yeah, we recognise that we are there without permission because we did try to get permission before we've... not on this particular land, this was a scrapyard, so we understood because there was gypsies already living there that it wouldn't be a problem for us to go in there. But when we realised that, then we identified a piece of land and they said we were breaking the law and we don't do anything by law put in for planning permission like other people do. So we thought, well, yeah, we'll do that and we'll show them that we are really trying. But we knew we weren't going to get it through prejudice. But anyway...
So you knew that eventually the eviction would come?
You know, this piece of land that I was speaking about. So we put in for planning, no caravans, nothing, just this green field, and we put in for planning. And the minute that the local MP, John Barron, found out about it, he got 5,000 signatures to stop it. So really, we couldn't get planning permission legally, and when we do it unlegal, we're being punished.
But is the problem not that the land that you want to build on is considered greenbelt land, which is the same for anybody within the UK, that if it is greenbelt land, you cannot build on this, no matter what anybody thinks of you, whatever their personal reasons are, it's greenbelt land, so that's just standard, you can't.
Yeah, we
never built on it. What happened was, when it came available to be sold as a scrapyard, we were travelling on the side of the road where we were breaking the law because the government then said travellers should buy their own land and build for themselves.
Right.
So while we were on the side of the road, this came up to be sold. So when we bought it, we just took our caravans and put the caravans onto it because we were breaking the law by travelling around.
But some of them are fixed structures as much. Some of them are caravans.
It's chalets, double chalets.
Chalets, yeah.
It's chalets because then you needed the toilet and the facilities. With the caravans, it never had that in it. So we got the chalets for the older people.
But that's where the problem comes, so because they are considered a fixed structure on a greenbelt land.
Do you appreciate that? Do you appreciate that it's the fixed structures that also, as Holly was saying, you know, that the rest of the settled community can't just build a fixed structure. You can't do that. You're not allowed to, no matter who you are, what race or religion you are. You can't build a fixed structure on a piece of land without getting planning permission.
No, we know that, but you see what we done, these were caravans, really and truly. It's a caravan that we brought on. We never built anything on the side as a big house or a...
But there are structures on there now, aren't there?
Yeah, and they can't be touched.
With bricks, yes.
You know those structures? Yeah. This is what this court is all about. Those structures can't be touched. The people will be evicted out of them, but the structures themselves, because they're there so long and that hard standing was there and the structures went on top of the hard standing, they can't be touched anyway. So the structures are still going to be left there, but it's only the people that's going to be evicted.
Can I ask, I mean, there's a lot of people who won't understand the way of life and will have little sympathy with the way of life. There are things that you've said which maybe you could explain, because you have said that you want to be there for 30 years. And I think those are your words,
yes.
Kathleen. You said, we want to be there for 30 years. What aspect of being there for 30 years in a fixed structure means you're a traveller?
Because we have no other choice than to travel now. We were made like settle where we wanted to travel. But now this new law, within 24 hours they move you off. Well, when you have children and you have sick people, I think that's a bit much every 24 hours to have to keep getting your caravan and moving to the next spot, getting your caravan and moving. And when that's happening, the taxpayers is paying for this because the police have to come and the council have to come. So that means that we're still getting persecuted because we're getting the blame of spending the taxpayers' money, where if we were left in one place, we wouldn't be spending anybody's money.
Now, a lot of the local residents, now I don't live there,
yes.
I haven't been there, so I don't know, and I wouldn't judge you on that, but,
yes.
but certainly going by what we've seen in the news, what people have written to me,
yes.
you are, as a community, very bad neighbours. You
yes.
appear to be messy. You appear to deeply upset for a number of reasons, and there's allegations, all sorts of allegations that people make, which I don't know the truth, so I'm not going to make them to you. But you do certainly seem to be bad neighbours. Would you have got more support if you'd been better neighbours, neater neighbours?
That one. We've been neighbours where we are. We just stay in our own community. We don't bother with the local people, and they have never bothered with us, and there have never been an arrest for anyone doing anything to our neighbours. At no time there has been an arrest. There has been no one charged with harassing our neighbours. But yet, behind our back, they say they're getting harassed. But yes, when the police come, no one has ever been arrested for it because we have never, ever bothered our neighbours. And they have never bothered us.
Well, we know that we've got Tony Bald, who's the council leader, and he's on the telephone now. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Now, when we told the ladies here that you were on the phone, they said that's fantastic because we can't get to talk to him, and this will be the first time that we've had the opportunity to discuss in recent times what's going on. Would you agree with that? Where has the communication broken down here?
I think that we've been talking, negotiating for 10 years, and I have been in rooms with Kathleen in particular, as well as Martina McCarthy and Candy Sheridan and other representatives all through that time. There comes a time when negotiations are exhausted, although always listening to people's individual needs and what we can do to help them in their personal situation.
Let's put the ladies directly onto you now. So Kathleen, here's the council leader. Yes. You have a direct line of communication. We can all hear what's being said, so there can't be any misunderstanding of words. Yes. What do you want to say?
Well, what I'd like to say to you, Tony, is that for the last week I've been trying to get in contact, come around the table, not just with me, but our local priest. There's a few more really important people that would sit around the table and just try to have a last-minute solution to this problem, because you still can't take out the structures, you can take the people out, which I don't think is very fair. We know we have a planning application the 22nd of November. You could give us a chance. I mean, we always said you can have our land. What we're asking for is that we have identified land, you yourself or even the public don't have to pay for it. There's money there available from the government in a funding for traveller sites. I mean, instead of destroying people's lives, you could come around the table, we could negotiate with you. We know you've been helpful in the past and you are underneath a lot of strain and pressure, but so is we are as well. And I think if we could just get around the table and try and solve something, please.
Your reply to that, Tony?
What I say to Kathleen is absolutely, I do understand the pressure they've been under, and it's very kind of them to recognise that I've been under a little bit of pressure as well. But what it is around, is there anything new that we haven't spoken about before? And yes, I did receive Kathleen's email yesterday, actually the official time. I've heard you on the radio say it, but yesterday was the first time I'd received an official, can we come and meet? It's all about anything new. The judicial review is around on Thursday. Is around waiting for the planning application, the planning appeal on the 22nd of November to be decided. But if you take that forward, there'll never be a resolution because there could be another planning application at another time. I think that we all, you and me and the public at large, need to see a resolution to this.
And the resolution seems to be terribly, terribly expensive. If we're led to believe the figures, then this is costing the taxpayer up to 80 million quid.
No doubt I'd much rather not be spending the money or something else, but to go back to the first principle, and the ladies have admitted this, the law has been broken. Not to comply with enforcement notice is a criminal act, and people expect public bodies to enforce the law.
So are you saying that this eviction is inevitable, whichever way you look at it, however long that this process takes, eviction is inevitable?
Dale Farm must be cleared. I mean, the courts have said this. Dale Farm must be cleared and returned to a green belt state, and that's what the council is doing. It's enforcing the decision of the courts. And
could you be accused of being prejudice here, that if it were another community, then perhaps you wouldn't behave in the same way?
No, absolutely not, and I reject that, and I hope the ladies would understand that we are doing this. No housing development of any site would be suitable, of any kind, would be suitable for Dale Farm. What people forget is there were very serious highways issues that for the reasons for planning permission not being given. Never mind about it being greenbelt and the contaminated land that's there as well. There'll be no housing would be able to go on that site. So it's a question of equality and fairness for all, and certainly not any prejudice. I reject that from that accusation.
So the judge has said it's not a matter of eviction, it is a matter of how that eviction is done, and how you take place.
Yes.
So how are you how will you move ahead now? How will you evict them in a way that pleases the judge?
Well, this is a site clearance, and we're down on the case that was dealt with yesterday and will be concluded on Monday. We were talking about a handful of plots, and Kathleen mentioned structures. It's up to the travellers to prove that the structures were in place before the enforcement notices were issued. If they can do that, then fine, they're not included in the.
Can you do that?
Is that then they won't be clear. If they can't do that, then they will be.
Well, they've just said they've got aerial pictures to prove that they were in place.
That's up to them to prove, and then the judge will make a decision.
Well, how come it's been 10 years? I mean, how come this is once again, we watch this, it's getting more and more expensive, the days roll on, they're sitting there thinking, do we have a home, do we not have a home? The locals are thinking, are they out? Have we managed to get rid of them? And then, 10 years down the line, you're still asking for proof as to whether or not a structure was there beforehand. We're sitting here, you say, waiting for proof. Surely to God, you've got it by now.
This is a challenge that was put forward by the travellers and their representatives. It's up to them to prove the council's wrong. It's not a challenge that we brought forward.
Ladies?
Yeah, we have got that proof. We have it in written statements, and we have aerial photos that there was structures there and there was concrete, and we have written statements that it was the council that put some of them structures there themselves, and they were operating in that scrapyard as well. Other than that, we would have never took this to court. So we have got proof of that, and if Tony Ball wants to see it beforehand, I can even show it to him. But that is there, and I'm willing to meet with him and show it to him. And when he said we've been around the table and negotiations, we couldn't come to no arrangement. The reason why, because they're refusing to leave us build a site in Basildon. They said there's too many travellers, they have got too many already, and this is the reason we can't come to an agreement. There is land there, and they're building everyday greenbelt land in Basildon. All over Basildon, beautiful houses they're building.
So would you like a beautiful house? Would you
No.
Would you all be housed and say, right, okay, that's it. This is an old scrapyard. We built on this without planning permission.
Yes.
We shouldn't be there. We're in the wrong place. Tony says the highways aren't suitable. What's underneath the ground isn't suitable for kids to be on.
Yes.
So this is an unsuitable plot. Yeah. Would you move somewhere acceptable?
No, to keep our culture. Do you know, to keep our culture, we will stay on land, not in houses, because we want to keep our culture. I think it's very important that we do keep it.
So is there any compromise, Tony? They'll be thrown off this land by the end of the week?
Well, it'll be when the courts decide how we're going to proceed with that. But I'm clear that Dale Farm must be cleared of residential dwellings.
Okay.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
in. Well, Colleen has been listening to all of that, as have you, in the hub. What have you got, Colleen?
Yeah, loads coming in, as you can imagine. Well, Crystal on Twitter says, I live 20 minutes from them, and no, I don't feel sorry for them. They are travellers, so travel elsewhere. And Alex Banger Davis on Facebook, people are forgetting the bigger picture here, and that is law is law. You cannot set up home anywhere you want. Half of that farm is illegally settled. However, Heidi on Twitter says, I feel sorry for the travellers and hope they win their fight. And Sean Amy Miles on Facebook says, I think they should stay. They've been there for 10 years and hadn't been a problem. Why all of a sudden should they leave the place they made their home? Obviously, that's going to run and run.
Thanks very much, Colin. Well, I think listening to you and the councillor discussing that sort of face-to-face pretty well, sort of telephone here, there doesn't appear to be any compromise at all.
No, not with him, honestly.
Or with you.
No.
I mean, you have two sides who both made your cases. It doesn't appear that there is any point that you can meet on here.
No.
We would leave the land even if they build as a council site. We're not refusing to leave, but if we leave now, we've nowhere to go. He wants to make us homeless. He will not talk about making us a site. He will not talk about keeping the community together. He wants to hush us into houses, all separate us. Us people will never live through that. All we want is somewhere to go, and that's what we need.
Thank you, both.
Thank you
very much indeed.
Right, still to come, all the inside soap balls gossip, plus how you could still star from last night's red carpet. That's all after the break.